Costa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How are
Thank
you?
you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. So you flew in when?
I flew in Thursday night late.
Okay.
And I'm here for 8 nights. So I leave this Friday morning.
Ah, shit. I bet that's going fast.
So fast. I have done so much open mic. I can't even begin to explain. It's been a hustle. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you can get fatigued pretty quickly. You can do how many? Like 5, 6. You can go 10 in a day if you really wanted to.
But if you leave early,
yeah,
and I haven't left early from one of them.
No.
So
you have to. Yeah, you can't stay to the end. You got to go. Just like do your 5, get out, get to the next one.
But do you leave?
Sometimes. There's certain mics that it's kind of renowned that people just leave. There's ones down like near Bleecker Street.
Yeah.
A lot of the people will just do their 5, leave, go to the next club, do their 5 there, and just do this like shuffle all night. It kind of sucks when people leave. Those mics aren't generally the best mics because you're not doing it in front of anyone. But what's the mic scene like in South Africa?
So South Africa has and I always say we have a bipolar type of comedy industry. We have a huge comedy industry. We have a lot of comedy fans and followers, and we have a lot of comedians. We have no formal comedy club anymore.
What? In the whole country?
The whole country does not have a single dedicated comedy club. We had a few in Johannesburg. COVID made sure that they closed and stayed closed.
That's insane.
So currently,
wow.
But currently, so many comics are all holding their own open mics, doing their own gigs, renting out hotel conference rooms. I'm doing a show at the end of Jan in a hotel conference area, which is great for comedy. It's just not a comedy club. You know, there's something about a comedy club which is like directional, single-minded. I'm here for one thing. Let's go.
Totally.
And a bar, like I've got an Instagram video of me doing actually my first ever paid gig in a restaurant, and I had 18. It's in the video. 18 people come either in front of me or behind me while I was doing my set. Waiters, Uber Eats drivers, people going to the toilets. Like it's
very
insane.
Distracting.
Very distracting, and nothing really too regular. Although there are a few in Johannesburg that are regular on a weekly basis, and tough to get some mics, some stage time. Very tough.
That sounds like Brisbane.
Really,
Brisbane's there's 2 comedy clubs. I think there's 3 there now. But it was those comedy clubs don't really do open mics. Them really just for shows. So to do open mics, it was really just people organized it inside little bars or little rooms and cafes and stuff like that. And it was really hard to get time. It's very hard. It's a difficult struggle to even get on like more than 2 open mics in a week.
Oh yeah, Johannesburg, you could probably get on 2 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean maybe 3. Perhaps I'm not plugged in like everybody else. I pretty much unplugged a little while ago because I was fed up, you know. And also our open mics, and this is an open letter to all South African comedians running open mics. There is a lineup, but it's advised to go, 5 to 10 minutes. But I've seen comics up there for 20 minutes. 15 minutes rambling.
What? There's no one giving them the light?
There's no lights. There's no, you got 10 seconds to go, whatever. Yes, I mean, if there's some serious profanity and something that's wrong or whatever. And for me, I'm like, there's nothing better than structure. Give me, even if we all each get 15 minutes, it also helps the comedian, I mean, we're not, and then often the mics go on for 3-4 hours.
Nah.
And on a Monday night, not my gig.
Nah, it wouldn't be mine too. I left a mic last night. I went to one last night in downtown, and it's like this. It's this multi-talent mic. It's like musicians, poets. It's the second time I've been there, and it's the second time I've left without even getting up because I sat there for 2.5 hours each time, and I said to him again last night. Well, when am I going up? And he goes, it's probably not till for another hour. I'm like, this is a fucking joke. No way. I can't stand that. So I don't blame you for being frustrated with that. That's not having that structure. It's just really inefficient as well.
Well, I don't want to be this efficiency guy and this whole big nerd, but I do want to build a career, and the only way to build a career is to follow some process and some rigor.
Yeah.
I started my own open mics. Well, actually not open mics. I started my own comedy competition.
Wow.
I'm a part owner in a restaurant, so I just hosted it there and gave new comics the light, gave them 6 minutes each. Was very strict on it. They had to sign a code of conduct because we couldn't have some wild chases. And
Is
then
it just certain things they couldn't say in there because there's
it was a franchise brand, and you
Gotcha.
can't have things attached to it. So there were a few things, but yeah, I ran it and I loved it. And again, you had to have less than 2 years experience. So it was all the new comics, and I did like 4 rounds twice, so like 8 nights. So yeah, and so you organize your own. But I mean, here's the thing: I'm not going to complain. I mean, our country birthed Trevor Noah. Like, come now. Like, I'm not going to be this comic who complains, oh, I can't become a good comedian because there isn't opportunity. Really? Well, how did Trevor Noah do it? So he's my inspiration. He made it big in South Africa before he went. Sure, we did have a different scene then. We did have a few comedy clubs, but still, I'm not going to take any excuses.
Yeah. You've got to just make your own opportunity in life.
100%.
Yeah. If you sit back and go, oh, I can't do this because of all these reasons, well, you're never going to fucking do anything.
Yeah, and which is why you started your podcast.
Well, trying. Yeah. I'm here, I may as well just go hard. Go do all the things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And
Great.
this is one of them. So you got into comedy a little later in life.
Oh. So my comedy...
What did I read last night? Was it 44 you started?
So let me tell you.
Yeah, tell me the story.
In 2014... No, this is... Okay, you got to get the full version.
I want to hear it.
I went and did a 3-day silent retreat.
Wow.
Alone. Okay?
Perfect.
There was no one there. Silence, no tech, no magazine, no writing instruments. I had nothing to do. The thing is, I wanted nothing to read, nothing. So for 3 days, I sat there.
Where was it?
I went to the middle of nowhere. I went to a Buddhist center in Groot Mariku.
Okay.
West of Johannesburg.
Okay.
And I just sat there, and I did a silent retreat. And it was so funny. The one lady who gave me the hut where I was doing the silent retreat had a little dog. And she walked past me. She would always walk past me, kind of like wave, but not say anything.
So so just to get this straight, in a silent retreat, no one talks.
Well, I went alone. I did my own silent retreat.
Gotcha. Okay.
I needed all the voices to shut the fuck up.
Okay.
And this was like in 2012, 2013. And so the one lady who gave me the hut, there was nobody else there. She would walk past with the dog, and she would like wave at me like all awkwardly, but wouldn't say anything, almost as if I was like deaf. And she would, nod her head. And then the one time she walked past me with the dog, and the dog went, arr, 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 and she would, shh.
It's a silent retreat dog.
I'm like, it's a dog, it's fine. Obviously, I didn't say anything. And I heard all these things, bees and everything, for the first time in years. But the one thing that happened is I couldn't stop laughing. And it was something, I couldn't stop laughing at myself. I didn't realize I was so clumsy. I was knocking into shit. I was banging things over. And a lot of people have told me I'm clumsy, and I'm just well put together guy, and I'm not clumsy. And I was bumping into shit and breaking things, and I started laughing a lot. But I said I wasn't allowed to make a noise, so I would laugh like without making a sound, which is difficult. I couldn't wait to stop the retreat so I could actually laugh properly. And then I realized I found myself really funny. The stories I was putting in my head, and I realized I've been putting stories together since I was a kid. And if it's a funny story. Everybody used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, a clown. I always wanted to be a clown.
Wow.
And that was until about age like 9, 10, not like 2, 3, until like older. I wanted to be a clown. I knew I wanted to entertain people. So I got on I got online and I found this American Comedy Institute, and they did a 5-day course in New York. This was end of 2013. I came in winter, December, freezing cold, did the course, and you got 5 minutes at Gotham, okay? Got up at Gotham, and it's still online, and I got laughs, and I mean, I nearly died. memorizing everything and getting it right. It was the most nerve-wracking experience. I can't even tell you. I remember standing in the bathroom saying, I can leave now. Nobody will know. They'll call my name and they'll just move on. This is New York. Nobody cares. Nobody was in the audience that I knew. But anyway, I got up and I enjoyed it. And I got an email from Stephen afterwards saying, well done on your performance. And he waived the audition for me to join his 1-year program. So back then he had a 1-year program running. So he said, if you'd like to do it, you don't need to audition. You got a spot. And that's when he took 12 to 15 students a year. It was a 1-year program. And I got that email and just my life was like, I want this so badly. And I closed the email and I forgot it. And I went and I opened a business and I buried the dream. Wow. I was like, the dream can't exist. It can't exist. I mean, I literally buried the dream. I couldn't afford it. I didn't know how to make it happen. It was just, I couldn't assimilate that.
Would you have had to have been in New York at that point? Okay, yeah. I can understand
so
that's
I would have had to
not
move
an
here,
easy thing.
Everything. Yeah. And I was really flattered that he saw something in me. Anyway, I shut it down, started a business, worked my way up, did my things. And of course, you know how dreams go. They scratch at you. And this one scratched at me. Enough for me to say, for a friend who I love to bits, Dory, I love you. I mentioned I'd done stand-up comedy once. She said, oh, you're a stand-up comedian. You got to meet my stand-up comedian friends. I was like, whoa. I didn't say, Next thing I know, a great comedian, a mentor of mine, threw me up on an open mic. And I did an open mic at some dodgy pub. And
did you do the same script from?
No.
Okay.
Oh no, I can write new material, because I'm just so seasoned.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how it goes. Yeah. So ballsy. And again, I got up and I showed that I could do it. And then I started doing a few open mics and then COVID hit. Oh, then I entered a competition and then COVID hit.
Gotcha.
And all the clubs closed. And that's when online I did another few Stephen Rosenfeld interactions and courses. And at that time, I also wrote a book that got published. So I wrote a book on my life story, a memoir.
Ah, I did see that.
Okay. And I'm very lucky. It got picked up by a publisher, did a book tour. It sold really well.
Wow.
And what I realized in writing the book, I didn't know... I mean, I did a business degree. I did okay with English at school. I didn't know I was a writer. I didn't know I could write. I did this writing course with this mentor of mine, and she helped me with the structure of the book. And I did it, with group work, and we just worked on our books. And I managed to finish my book and got a deal. And I realized I write in a certain way, and I realized I learned it from stand up. Set up. Create some tension, punch, and my chapters read like that, even though it's a long setup and the punchlines at the end, you got to, and it just, there was something in the structure of writing. And then I realized, shit, I'm an author now. I can actually write. Well, let me try writing more jokes. And since then I made a decision to do everything I can do to become a comedian.
Wow.
So everything. And I have done everything. I even do dramatic acting in Johannesburg. I've got an agent. I'll take any gig. I've done MC work, speaking gigs. I was a game show host. Like anything to get a mic in front of my mouth to get me going. And build it. It's helped build a mini persona of like a multimedia guy, even though my Instagram 18 months ago, I was like, that's it. I'm now changing it from Costa Johannesburg to Costa Comedian. If you're a comedian, tell the world. And the minute I did that, it shifted things. Because I was telling myself more than anything that I'm a comedian. And then, you're getting the long version.
I love this. Keep going, man. You're great.
And then I was tired of the open mics. I was tired of sitting there for 4 hours. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a recovering addict. I don't like being around weed. I don't mind it. I just can't smell it. I just won't, and the one open mic gig was at a 420 cafe. I've got to stand by the window. And you don't know if people are laughing because they're stoned or because you're funny. But either way, they were laughing. But I got tired of all of these gigs, and I was like, fuck it. I'll write. Oh, hang on. I'll make it like it's my idea. I have a mentor. His name's John Vlismus. He is one of South Africa's best comedians. He no longer does comedy. He met me. He's like, I want you to open for me. What? And he gave me a 15-minute slot. And I took serious advantage of that. And I filmed it. And he said, I like you. Come with me and do a festival. I want you to open for me. And then on the festival, he said, stop fucking around doing open mics in Starbucks and bars. He's like, rent a theater, put on your own one-man show, make a poster, and do it. I was like, fuck it. I had an entire show's worth of material. It's actually turned out to be 70 minutes. So it's a full one-man show. I had it in me. It's based loosely on my book. The stories were all there, and I wrote it. And if I think about it, but what I know, the problem is what I know now. If I knew what I knew now, then I would never have done it. I would never have done it because I know what I wasn't doing right. But I wrote the thing. I got my sister to read it, okay, saying, am I making a fool of myself here? She's like, no, it's fucking funny. I was like, I'm not embarrassing the family either. I don't want to.
This is your 1 hour or your book?
My 1 hour.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then I have a director friend, Reno, who's amazing. I said, will you direct me? He's like, sure. And I put it on. It's a one. And I hear comedians saying, yeah, I'm working on my 1 hour. I've got 45 minutes. I've got these little bits. I'm still working them. I didn't work anything. I hadn't mic'd anything up on stage. I hadn't tried anything in front of an audience.
Wow. So you just went in, raw dogged that 1 hour.
Raw dogged that 1 hour. And
wow.
And yeah, I got to have like 200 friends to come and watch, and it worked. And then my friend...
How was the feeling of pulling that hour off in front of all your friends and family and without knowing if it was even going to work? The relief must have been so insane.
So here's this is where my confidence mustn't become arrogance. I knew if I did it properly, it was definitely going to work.
There you go.
Like I knew, I just didn't know if I could do it properly. I have a problem with memory. I'm on some medication, a mood stabilizer that gives me train of thought issues. So I had notes all over the place. I had somebody reading the script at the back if I got lost. I messed up so many lines. I even recorded it thinking, this is my big thing and I'll have an hour, I'll put it on YouTube. You don't do that. You don't record your first ever time on stage and think it's going to be amazing. Anyway, that has formed a big part of my show. Really.
I have heard though from people, the successful comedians, there's their three things. They're talented, they're funny, and they're delusional. And I think you have to have a certain amount of delusion to get into anything that's creative, because it's just such a single lonely struggle with you got no idea how it's going to go until you do it. So you're just basically winging it. It's fucking wild. Like, it's insane. You don't know. You just don't know. So you really are just delusional as fuck.
Delusional. I call it ambition.
Yeah.
I call it enthusiastic.
Of course.
But it is delusion. I mean, do you want to hear more of the delusion?
Yes.
My friend John said, oh, okay, well done. Now, if you say you're a comedian, what you need to do is a 6-night run.
Here we go.
Makes
sense.
Fuck it. 6-night run at the Mandela Square Theatre. 200-seater, 6 shows over 5 nights. Oh, fuck it. Do a matinee. Saturday and another evening show. Fuck it, you can do it. Okay, I've never done that in my life before. I did it. 80% sold. Wow. Spent a lot of money on marketing, and what I decided was, let me use this as a platform to launch a career and let it known. And there's something very powerful around putting a poster together, renting a theater, telling the world you've got an hour 10. I was cheeky, because an hour, South Africans don't go and watch comedy. They don't really like going to the theater, and if you take them there for 55 minutes, they'll be like, really? You're shortchanging me here. So I took it just over an hour, no crowd work that I can't do yet. It's a performance it blends one-man show and stand-up in a way. Even though there's no theatrics, there are parts in it that are serious. Not quite Hannah Gadsby serious, but I shed some light on my core audience. So what I decided to do was, let me start with who I know and what I know.
Yeah.
And I just know me. So what's my story? So I wrote my story for me. And as it turns out, it's largely for misfits. But it's called Desperately Seeking Souvlaki. And it's about my life as a Greek, gay, South African kind of weirdo misfit. And my primary audience then was the Greek community. And I said, well, let me just market it to them. So I did that. And that worked really well. And what I've decided to do is my first 2 shows, because I have a second show now that I finished. I haven't put it on yet. Is I'm going to give the Greekness of me as a comedian a really good shot while I become good, and then I can become a more of a general comedian,
Gotcha. You want to sort of hone in on a bit of a target market.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, well, you stick, if that's what you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
And if it's an easy sell, that's the other thing. I sold out 2 shows. Well, it didn't sell out. I mean, because we could have put more chairs in the hall. But I like to think that the chairs that were there were full, all 60 of them, in Athens, to a South African Greek community.
Wow. And
then in Cyprus, 2 shows, South African Greeks. Like, that's a tiny, that's a subsection of a subsection. And I was cheeky enough to think that I could pull that off, and I did. And then my sister lives in Austin, Texas. So I went there.
Are you going to go see her on this trip?
I did.
Yeah.
I was there now. And I've put on the show there twice in Austin. And it went down really well, again, to a largely Greek audience. And then I contacted you Australians, because, geez, like, there's a lot of Greeks there.
Oh, yeah. One of my best mates is Greek, and there's a whole Greek community where I'm from.
Greek.
Yeah.
Say it?
Greek.
Greek.
There's a lot of Greeks.
Greeks.
Shout out to my good Greek friend, Alex Saranakis, you beautiful boy.
Alexander Saranakis.
Yeah.
Yasu Aleximu. So Melbourne, I was like, there's a lot of Greeks in Melbourne. I got in touch with the president of the Melbourne community, and then he put me in touch with one guy, put me in touch with another guy, and they booked me now. I've got 15th of Feb.
You should go to Brisbane. You should go to West End in Brisbane.
Cool.
We'll talk after this. I'll give you some recommendations. You should put a show on there. It's a huge Greek community.
Great.
Huge Greek community.
Great.
Millions of them.
So the thing is, and the guy George, I forgot his name, George from the Melbourne. He also works on the Melbourne Comedy Festival and Sydney Comedy Festival. He said to me, I was like, I want to come and do a show. I said, but I just want to do one show. He's like, that's very clever, because I'm not coming in as this big name. Oh, I can do 3 nights and I know who I am. I just need to get a sense of the place. I've never been to Australia. I need to get a sense of the place. I need to get a sense of the people there. And so I'm going to do a lot of open mics in Melbourne, and then I'm busy confirming a venue for Sydney for the show, and as many open mics I can do in Sydney, and bomb as many times as I can just to learn. and then I'll know what I'm going to do in Australia next year or later this year.
Yeah.
Just you know how it goes, and of course do more shows in South Africa. I mean, I've done Cape Town, Bloem, and now Pretoria end of this month. Just wherever anybody will hear me.
Wow.
And yeah, it is stupidity, and what did you call it? Delusion. Yeah, and in fact, I got booked to do a gig in Rotterdam. Okay, so I was flying through Amsterdam, so I just emailed every single club in Holland like 10 times, and this one club in Rotterdam, he booked me. And I did a 15-minute set. It's been recorded, where literally I got maybe 2 laughs, maybe 3 laughs in 15 minutes. I bombed so badly.
Wow.
So badly.
And you saw it through. Good on you.
And it made me realize, wow. And because I had never really bombed until then. I'd done my show, it went well, whatever. And then I realized, maybe I'm not good. Sure. Maybe I need to work harder. And that gave me a big fright. It was on my way to LA, where I did 2 weeks of open mics there. And yeah, I got to tell comedians, you got to be careful. I went to LA and an existential crisis happened. I realized what I don't know. All right. Because here I am, this comedian, I've got a website, I've got a this, I've got a that. I was nominated for an award, I'm booking shows, and I go to LA and nobody's laughing. Show after show after show. I'm freezing in front of an audience. I'm forgetting my lines. You even saw me the other night.
I didn't see you bomb. You killed. You were fine. You had a good set. But that's a. You had a good set for that room. You had a very good set. Trust me, that room is notoriously difficult. It's a weird room, that Black Cat. So when I saw you, you were great. So I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
I wouldn't think otherwise.
I've never felt more out of sorts like I did in LA. But I fucking loved every minute of it. It was the most difficult 2 weeks. I loved every minute.
It's humbling, isn't it? You know, like it just because this whole game is so many highs and so many lows. Like, I had a show about a month ago, and I did really well. And some of my wife's friends came, and one of my wife's friends said to my wife, "He is going to be famous one day, but don't tell him it's going to get to his head." And she told me, and she goes, I'm telling you because like my friend said it's really funny, but she goes, I know it's not going to get you to your head because today you might enjoy the comment, but tomorrow you're going to be hitting rock bottom again. And that's just the way it is. You have a high, and then the next day you have a low. And sometimes you can be low for so long until you get that high again. And it's very humbling. So I can't even imagine what that would have been like going to LA and just mic after mic or show up.
Mic after mic of... but then, I mean, Laugh Factory, you get 2 minutes. So you basically... So I queued for 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. And I got...
For a mic?
And I got 2 minutes. So... You have to... The first 10 people in line get in. The next 10 is a bucket. I'm like, I did not come all the fucking way to Los Angeles to not get on the mic. So I arrived 2 hours early, and I was 7th in line. So I'm in, okay? And then I still had to wait another 2.5 hours. No, I arrived 3 hours early, then I had to wait an hour and a half before the show started.
That's insane. What? That's insane.
But... the Laugh Factory booker watches all 20 of you and makes a selection. And he selected 3, not me. But the 3 that did got an opportunity to do the open mic for free. That's how LA works. And then Flappers Comedy, I got booked. I'm on their database. But when they say that you got booked, it means you can now do their open mics for free. Mm-hmm.
Wow. But it's a brutal game. It really is, isn't it?
But so much advice. I want to share something I got yesterday.
Please.
I did Fear City yesterday with James. I forgot his name.
James Patrick?
Yeah.
As in the owner of VSC?
Yes,
I don't know his name.
Oh,
but I've
okay.
met him. He's a lovely man.
Very lovely man.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I went up, and I wasn't great, and there were only 3 people in the audience, and he gave us more time, and he gave us feedback, and we chatted a lot. And some guy said something. He's like, fuck the destination. No comedian is ever happy with his set.
Never.
And always growing, and always evolving, and always changing. And I've often treated things in my life like a destination, and I haven't treated this as a destination. I've treated it as journey stuff, because what's his name say? Alan Carr, whatever his name is. He said, the pursuit of money is what's amazing. Not the minute you get the money. It's the pursuit of the money, or pursuit of the dream. For me, it's more the pursuit of the dream. In the pursuit is where all the fun is. And so I'm going to bomb. What is so wrong with bombing?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's like when you grow, but it just feels bad.
It
feels uncomfortable.
I've given up crystal meth. Okay. That was worse. I often remind myself, actually, I've been through way worse than nobody just laughing at my jokes.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit of shame. Okay, I think I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I was bullied at school. I managed that. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And here's the problem, and this is what I wanted to caution other mics on. Now that I have done one show, now that I think I'm a comedian, now I've got to be a comedian. And I've seen how other comedians are, and I let that get to me. And I got back to South Africa in June, whenever, and I didn't do comedy for a few months.
Comparison is the thief of all joy. Yeah.
And that's when I booked the trip to New York.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of every bone in my body, I just kept going. I was like, you're going to New York. You're putting on a show in Austin. You're trying to get on Kill Tony. You're trying this. You're trying that. You're doing. You're booking Melbourne. You're booking this. You're booking that. And this is me being really open. Like, I was this close to giving it all away, giving it up, going, because, at my age, it's like, I tried it. It didn't really work out. You got so many excuses. Everybody will understand why you gave up stand-up comedy. Everybody will understand. They'll be like, oh, of course I understand. You can negotiate heroism. You can even make yourself a hero for giving up stand-up because, the scene wasn't good. It was, it messed with my self-confidence. So everybody will agree with you because nobody wants to do this job. Yeah. But I can't stop doing this job.
No. I can't either.
What is wrong with us?
It's addictive. I don't know. I've also, you said crystal meth. I used to be a cocaine guy for quite a few years, quite heavy, very heavy into it. And I don't know, once you go through the pain of those sorts of things, because they really are painful, and it's really, really painful experiences when you put it all together in a box. You realize that this is kind of the new drug. This is the new high, but this is something that is way better than anything that you can put in your body. It's intoxicating.
But using your natural talents.
Exactly.
Isn't that a lovely thing?
Yeah. And it's all in there. What I'm enjoying the part of this journey is it's in there. Like, if I do meditating, or if I smoke a little bit of weed and I sort of try and just listen to the thoughts that are going on in my mind, there's really well structured jokes and words that are coming through and circulating through. But it's just one thing. It's in there, but it's another thing putting it out on page, and then another thing putting it out on the stage. And so I think we all have the ability to do it. It's just finding that thing within us and going and acting on it, and then just dodging all the bullets on the way.
But the cool thing is, these bullets won't kill us.
No,
they won't kill us. We may go hungry. I'm trying to be as open and honest on Instagram as possible. I'm eating McDonald's and Taco Bell, and last night was 2 slices of pizza and a fruit salad from 7-Eleven, because that's the only way I can afford to keep going. And I haven't saved since I've forever because it's impossible, and I'm just reinvesting. But here's the thing: I borrowed tons of money to open a franchised outlet, store, in South Africa. Why can't I put a few $100,000 into me?
Exactly.
Like I put millions, and I borrowed the millions, which is worse, because I put my house as collateral, etc. I borrowed millions to build somebody else's brand. So I'm not blinking. I'm saying, you know what, I will spend a little bit on me, because the benefits of this journey, I mean, it has been like the joy of writing a joke that is fucking funny. Like, and some of the jokes, I've done them in room after room after room with no laughs, but I know it's funny.
Yeah.
And maybe it's my delivery, and sometimes it is my delivery, and then when I just get it right, and then it starts getting laughs, and then it doesn't stop getting laughs. Yeah, and when you write good material.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the thing: people say, "Oh,
you're getting me excited to like pick up the pen and paper." Just you saying that, I feel it. Yeah, it's it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing.
It is beautiful because these ideas are always bubbling around in my head.
Yeah,
and I take notes, etc., etc. But when you sit down to write, and the magic starts happening, I unfortunately don't. I mean, I journal every day. I don't write jokes every day. That's a practice that I haven't gotten into too much. I do a couple of hours a week, yes, but working on bits all the time in my car, etc., and when one hits you and you go, okay, that's a keeper.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that people work on the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. I thought my second time I did 5 minutes was in Austin, and I wrote an entirely new 5-minute set. And then the next time I wrote an entirely new 5-minute set. And
you did the exact same thing as me. I honestly, so I started in Brisbane and I did my first. My second time wrote a new 5. My third time wrote a new 5.
You said that.
My fourth time wrote a new 5. My fifth time I wrote a new 5. And I bombed except my first time, I bombed every time. And I was like, what's going on? And I had no idea that people just did the same jokes over and over. I had no idea. I thought if I went up and I said the same thing twice, I was a fraud.
Oh, complete fraud. In fact, I heard that on your... that's why I brought it up. I heard it on your podcast. You saying that. I was exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I'm also an originality snob. Okay? I don't want people's input in rewording. I don't mind people's input in, like, why don't you try the punch a little later or a little shorter or whatever. Or don't step on your line. Tell me what's wrong. Don't change. Don't rewrite my joke for me. I did some writing with a writing coach, and he kept on saying, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? I said, no. Let me go away and write new material, because then it becomes your material. And this is not the Daily Show. I don't need writers every day to write my stuff. I needed my writing to be 100% mine.
So I did 3 or 4 courses last year, and I think it's for just a personal thing. I think for now I'm going to stop doing courses just for a while. I felt that was what was sort of happening with me is what they were doing was fantastic in the sense of helping me, with the joke. But a lot of the time the joke then didn't feel like my joke. And once that happens, you don't love the joke as much. Once it doesn't feel like yours, it's not, I don't know, there's a bit of a magic missing. So I sort of vouched to myself this year to raw dog it completely and just...
I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Because for me, suddenly, yes, the joke was funnier. Especially this one joke the guys helped me fix, so-called. The joke was funnier. but it wasn't my voice.
Yes.
There was something in the lingo, there was something in the wording, something in the way the sentence was, and it wasn't my voice. And I've dropped that joke.
It's not how you would say it to your friends, you know. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
How do you riff when you're up there? I cannot, and that's another thing I didn't realize about stand-up comedians, and this is what Stephen Rosenfeld taught us, is, everything's written, everything down to the last word. The economy of your words is important. Shortening stuff, compacting it, learning it the way you originally wrote it. And then I get told, comedy's often, just about feeling the room and, riffing and whatever. I just can't do that. How do you? How can
not
you?
Not on a show. On open mics, I do regularly. On open mics, I'll go up with. I've got a story about doing ayahuasca. And it's a really funny story, actually, and I haven't written it, but I've been up on stage and done it like 4 times now, where I've just tried to say the story, and that's a nice experience. But on a show, I've never riffed on a show. I don't think any comedian riffs on a show, or very few. I mean, I don't know. I may be speaking out of school. I don't fucking know everything, but I would say majority of it is all scripted. I know a lot of comedians write their jokes on stage, so I guess in a sense they are riffing. So I've heard like Louis C.K. for example writes his jokes on the stage, as in gets up, says it, records it, and then writes it down, and then goes back on stage. Wow. So I guess going back to your question, I don't really riff. I don't think most comics do, but I do think there are some very few special people that do. Yeah.
Like, I mean, my friend John is you get good comedians, great comedians, and then genius comedians, like Robin Williams, genius.
Genius.
John Vlisma's genius. You just give him a mic, anything, and he will have you upstage. I went and watched him do his show. He did 3 1 hour. I opened for him 3 1 hours, 3 1 hour shows. Every hour was completely different. Like, I think there were 2 bits that were the same in each show, maybe. The rest of the hour was 100% from what he was feeling that moment.
How do they?
That's genius.
So that must all be memorized.
It could be.
How do you have a 3-hour Rolodex of jokes just sitting in your brain memorized perfectly?
I don't think it's
apparently Robin Williams used to be like that as well. Like he would be writing his jokes just before he goes up on stage, and then he would just go say them. Like apparently one of his specials that he did, like 30 minutes of that special he hadn't even written. He just riffed it or just pre-wrote it just before he went up and went blah. And there was guys that were like, we've been touring with him for years and we've never heard any of that material. I mean, these guys are
that's genius.
That's God. They have that's the God energy that they are feeling within themselves. 100%. You know, they're connected to the source and they're in it.
And I'm glad you brought God into this, because at the end of the day, serving a higher purpose is what's going to keep me doing this. And I keep forgetting that. I'm no fucking angel, It's so easy to get stuck in the me of all of this. But remembering that it's not mine. I mean, when you write a joke, that joke came from somewhere else, because it's so fucking funny. There's no way. Definitely God sent that, And like my book, even some of my book, I've reread some of it. I'm like, geez, like that's damn good. I have to remind myself it wasn't ghost written. Serving the higher purpose. And again, I've called myself a stand-up comedian just because it's just easier than calling yourself an artist or a writer. And people want to box you somewhere. And am I a stand-up 5 minutes open mic nighter? I don't know. Am I a one-man show stand-up? I don't know. But what I do know is I want to, in a very funny way, make people know things that happened to me in my life that weren't right, that people are still doing today, that just think about it in a different way. I want to change how some people think, but do it through comedy with empathy, not through comedy with gags and, well, so
give me an example.
So I've come to realize I'm not the gags comedian. I can do observational comedy, etc., 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 and yes, that's helping me perfect my craft. But at the end of the day, my shows are about
You're a storyteller.
Storytelling, and be careful how you bully people. Be careful how amazingly progressive you think your community is. In my show, I call out Greeks for their racism, sexism, homophobia, elitism, all of the above, and I do it in a way where half the audience they don't get it. It just goes over their head, and that's also fine. You know, they came for the laughs, and there's a few people that come up to me afterwards and go, "Ouch!" You know, I felt you punched me in the stomach. I'm like, "Yeah, well, think about it," and that's the kind of, and that's what I loved. I don't know if she's your cup of tea, but and I've only watched 2 of her specials, Nanette and something like, what's his name? It's like Dylan. What's the second one called? It's like a boy's name. Anyway, Hannah Gadsby she went. I mean, it's her shtick. And what I love is she's allowed comedians to like just make. So is she strictly speaking a comedian? No, but I mean we call her a comedian. Yes, she's funny, but she's more about telling stories and shifting consciousness and she gets very serious, and that's also okay. You know,
I like that. Do you know Daniel Sloss?
No.
Daniel Sloss is a British comedian.
Okay.
I think he may be Irish, but at the end of his specials, he always does like a 10-minute monologue on something quite serious.
Nice.
It'll be, I think he's done one on he has a sister that is, I think has like cerebral palsy or some sort of problem. I shouldn't say, I don't know. You know what I mean? But he does like a 10-minute monologue on her with like a one punchline at the very end. And I think that's a great thing as well. Like when comedians, as you said, shift of consciousness, I think that's in a way a comedian's job is to shift consciousness, is to make you think things in a different way.
I know.
I mean, there's many different jobs in this industry, but it's certainly one of them.
Yeah. Although, truth be told, I have been playing it safe. For the simple reason is I'm starting out.
Yeah.
And I got great advice. I'm like, once you go there, wherever you're going, you can't pull back from that thanks to the internet. So just be careful how far you go. Because my idol is Joan Rivers. Okay? I mean, my Joan. Like she just is the best. And she's painfully rude. And she's insensitive. And she's all of those things that the world would not handle right now. But fuck, I'll fall asleep to her. She's so funny. And, you know, like she's dealing with her husband's suicide. She says, my husband committed suicide. You know, look at me. Wouldn't you? You know, I mean, and she's laughing at herself, putting herself down, and all of that stuff. But I've come to realize I often say, well, I kind of want to be a little kind up there. You know, I have heard some of my jokes that I've written and I've gone, is that really kind? Like, do I really need to get the laughs on there? No. You know, I do take out Greek women a lot with their moustaches. You know, and it's not really, that's really unkind. You know, I know some girls, you know, they don't want to have the moustache, and it is something that they get mocked about or whatever. Well, that's why God created waxing. But I am Greek and I can get away with it. But I'm not really about hurting other people and the gags, you know. And like I'm not a Rodney Dangerfield kind of guy, you know. I mean, I can do it, but that's his persona. Yeah. And fuck, this whole comedic voice persona shit. I don't know what my comedic voice is. I don't know what my persona is. I can only do fucking me. I don't know. Like people say, there was this meme I loved. There was this woman. She was like sitting with her head in her lap. She said, "Oh fuck, I forgot to work on my personal brand this year." Like, fuck your personal brand.
Yeah.
We were given a personal brand at birth, our name.
Yeah.
All right, go there, do something with it. What are your talents? Stop fucking around and follow your dream. Or get the fuck out of my way.
So are you gonna stick around in South Africa? Do you think with this comedy journey, is that where your heart is, or do you want to like maybe move to a place where there is a lot more opportunity?
I love Johannesburg.
Okay.
I'm one of these freaks. It's just
I've got several South African friends, and they love South Africa. They just love it. Like deeply, deeply, deeply love their country.
Have they immigrated to Australia?
No, they've immigrated to other places.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
One of them still lives there, but
people who've left South Africa really miss it, and I'm not leaving. I love it. I will always be there. I will die there. I love South Africa because I love South Africans. Everywhere in the world is beautiful. People are like, oh, Cape Town's so beautiful. The Kruger Park. Oh, fuck off. You know, Kenya's as beautiful. I've been to San Francisco. It's gorgeous. Like, everywhere's beautiful.
You're right.
The people.
Yeah.
I mean, in South Africa, we smile, we touch, we hug, we commune.
So do you have, because I mean, you guys were colonized by the British.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the British way of like family and communication and like the British aren't affectionate people. The British is very stiff upper lip, and it was very present to me and obvious when I traveled through Central and South America. I spent about a year doing that.
Wow.
And the way that like my male friends who lived in Chile and lived in all through Central and South America, they would like interact with their fathers. They would go and give their dad a hug and kiss their dad, and their dad would kiss them, and they, you know, and like warm family. Same with like the females, you know, it's kind of not like that in Australia. It's very, very almost cold, and same with a lot of my friends who live in England. It's a very the British style of love was kind of cold, and the Latin style of love was very warm. So are you saying the South African, it's kind of different in South Africa? It's a bit more of a hybrid.
So my reference is Greek. So of course we're a touch culture.
Yeah.
We hug and kiss everybody.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. But South African culture, there's no real one South African culture. But we rub up against each other, and like I know that if I mean, maybe it's just I'm a hugger, but I hug everyone.
Yeah.
And I do feel South Africans, we touch each other more. And I'll give you an example. The restaurant I'm a partner in, a mother will walk in with a baby, okay? Immediately my waitresses will pick up the baby and pat it and play with it. You know, you would never do that in another country, okay? Never. Wouldn't touch another person's baby. Come here, baby. And they pick up the baby. And the one time my one waitress changed the baby's diaper, I was like, okay, that's like great for tips, but you don't need to. She said, no, I don't mind. I don't care. You know, and the mother handed the baby, and I mean, I do know some women who would never hand their child to anybody, let alone a waitress. Those are the elitist South Africans, and they exist. Don't get me wrong, they exist. But your general South African, I mean, is crammed in a taxi all day, is loud, is we forever shaking hands, and the handshakes are long and involved, and I keep shaking people's hands like that, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, and here you just get a little tug. We are a people that talk a lot. We like laughing. Like we laugh at each other. It's so funny. We have it's a very South African thing to laugh at somebody's misfortune, but it's almost as an expression of surprise, not ridicule. I can't explain it. If you watch, like, I've often seen somebody fall
almost
over.
like relieving the tension.
Yes, somebody falls over and everybody laughs. And in some cultures, don't laugh. It's sad. It's whatever. And like you'll often find we laugh in South Africa, we laugh at, you know, the ugly one, the fat one, the tall one, the skinny one, the whatever one, you know, and people's nicknames are revolting, okay? But it's more, it's it's not meant like, I don't
It's
believe
more like a term of endearment.
I don't believe we get as offended
Okay.
as other cultures, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Well, that's good for comedy.
It's great for comedy, but you've got to be careful there because we also have diversity in South Africa, and that's why I love it, because we have from the most Calvinistic, religious, white, privileged, all the way to all different races, creeds, religions, sexualities, etc. So we are very, very diverse, and you're forever rubbing up against other people. And this is what I love about New York. You know, it feels like Johannesburg. Austin was a little too Austin-y.
New York is extremely diverse.
Love that.
Most people here aren't even from here.
Yeah.
They're from other parts of the country.
Yeah.
There's very few New Yorkers. In a room of like comics that you see, like at Black Cat, for example, I reckon if I could guess, it would be 20% of people in that room are probably from New York originally. So it's very few.
Shout out to Black Cat and Sonia.
Yeah.
It's the most inclusive, fun, just generous room.
Yeah.
Really, really wonderful.
Shout out to Sonia. I'm going to get her on here.
Oh,
she is so funny.
and
I love her so. Everyone loves Sonia. She's the best. She's so funny.
she's Ukrainian. No, she's Serbian.
Yeah,
she's
she's
Serbian.
Serbian,
She talks she talks like a Serbian. I can only do Russian accent. Sorry, I can't do Serbian. To me, it's all the fucking same. Eastern European.
Yeah, she's great. So, mate, you've really hit the ground running. I mean, you've kind of taken your own path. The way you've gone and navigated this game, it's really quite inspiring. You've really made your own opportunity. And I think that is a good story for anyone who, like we were saying at the start, like if they're looking at the place they're living in and going, oh, well, there's no opportunity here, so I can't do it. Well, that's kind of bullshit. You can do it. You've just got to fucking get up and do it. And you're a perfect example of that. So well done.
Thanks.
Like, really.
I mean, I also am open. So while I've decided on a journey, stroke strategy, it's only for the next 3 to 6 months. Like I tell the story, a friend of mine got she's the weather girl, the new weather girl in South African national news. And she came to me saying, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this gig. And I mean, they were looking for a gorgeous, beautiful, and she's exceptionally beautiful blonde girl. And they found her. And I watched her and I was like, I would do that gig. I'm open for a talk show host. I'm open for a comedic weatherman. I mean, you name it, I'll do it.
Yeah, you just want to go where
who knows where the career is going to take me.
That's exactly how I feel.
I may land up super happy as ringmaster of a circus. Brilliant. As long as I'm challenged and creating every day, I'll take that gig.
You might be that clown after all.
Oh, yes.
I used to say stuntman. That was my thing. I wanted to be
butch, so straight.
I wanted to be a stuntman. I mean, I was the class clown as well. I was that kid at school that I used to yell answers out to try and make people laugh all the time.
Oh, cheeky shit.
Yeah. So you're looking forward to the Australian tour?
Tour. I love that word. It makes me sound like a touring comedian. It's one show. It's one show in Melbourne.
You should book Sydney and Brisbane. We'll talk after this.
Okay. So I haven't thought much about it. I have a diaspora international version of my show. So I've rehearsed it a little bit now. I just got to rehearse it a little more. I'm ready. I want to do
God, how do you rehearse an hour or 70 minutes? That must be so painful.
You do it 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
you literally...
Yeah.
I took it into production and I just said I got to do it at least 30 times before I put it on. So I set the goal.
Memorized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully memorized.
Not looking at
anything. And I couldn't. So I then had little crib notes on the stage somewhere, like just in case.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean,
I think that's one of the things
Nikki Glaser reads off an auto cue at the Golden Globes. She nailed the opening, but I mean, come on. And I've been to Comedy Central roasts the tapings in South Africa, where all the jokes are written up there. I
course.
fucking wish my jokes could be written up there.
Of course they are. You think these people can memorize? Like, it's just not, we're not robots. We can't memorize this stuff over and over and over. And to memorize however much material it might be, 20 minutes for one night and never do it again, of course you're going to read a few notes around if you can.
Oh my God, yeah. But
It's that to me is one of the most painful things about this. I love being on stage and I love the writing part. It's the memorizing, standing there and reading the whole thing over and over and standing there over and over and over and over and over. The ADD part of my brain gets so bored and so unstimulated. I have to like literally grab my hair and drag myself to do it.
Do you know what I did?
What?
Before my Gotham City 5 minutes all those years ago, I just this nothing was sticking. So I said, right, I'm going to go stand. It was December in Central Park. Okay, I'm not allowed to leave Central Park until it's memorized. Okay. 2 hours later, I put my brain into a state of shock that it had to learn, and that's the only way I memorized it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have died. I froze my tits off.
So, what was it like growing up in South Africa?
Have
you got siblings and stuff?
Yes, I have a sister. She now lives in Austin.
Yeah.
Growing up in South Africa was not great. For the simple reason is we didn't live in a normal country. Segregated, violent.
Do you remember the segregation? When did the segregation stop?
1994 came the new South Africa.
So you would have been well into your
50s.
You would have been I'm saying you would have been an adult. Yeah.
I was born in 1970.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm your dad's age.
Not quite.
Anyway, I had a privileged education. It was segregated. It was exclusive. It wasn't real or normal, and that is something. While I can say yes, I had a charmed life. I had it all. I was so lucky, but how can I feel lucky when there's slavery going on around me? You know. So I have like, I mean, South Africa, we were the pariahs of the world. We had no access to so many things, etc., etc. We were excluded from so many things for a right reason. And I'm just so glad the transition happened, and we could start building a country that now I'm proud of.
But South Africa used to be one of the powerhouses of the world. I mean, when apparently the South African dollar, used to even be stronger than the British pound back in the day.
But that is so easy if you have free labor. And you're standing on all the gold in the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to be that.
Yeah.
You just enslave 80% of the population and mine all the gold. You will have the strongest currency. So it's nothing I'm really proud of.
Gotcha.
That's not, I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't have an emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Well, I probably do, which is a negative one, but.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm so proud of our constitution while in practice, it's tricky. I'm used to all the civil liberties I have as a gay man. I've had them now for 30 years, and other countries are going backwards. And it's just great where we live. I mean, we have the most horrible gender-based violence issues, horrible, and we don't know how to treat our women. And our men, some men, but it's really, really tough, and we have so many social ills. But there's a tenacity and a resilience to a South African. I think we also have a very short memory, which really, really helps. Like, we will literally have no electricity for months, and then we will have a week of electricity, and we will forget that we ever had no electricity. like we will party like it's the end of like the millennium. Like now we don't have water in some areas. Okay.
What?
We just have a crumbling infrastructure system, but it's okay. I mean,
are they investing into it at the moment to try and bring it up to scratch?
I think so.
Okay.
but also, I mean, for fuck's sakes, you live in Johannesburg. If you haven't made a plan now to at least have some 10 liters of water lying around your house, you're stupid. I mean, when people say, "Oh, I couldn't brush my teeth this morning," well, where the fuck do we live? You know, we don't live in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Make a plan. I'm not going to let it get in my way. People are, all the stoplights were out. It took me an hour to get to work. They've always been out. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, we have.
I've heard that you, at nighttime in South Africa, you don't stop at a set of lights. Is that true? Is that used to be true and that's not true anymore?
It's, if you want to be safer. It makes sense it depends which area you're going through, to look left and right and then just go.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's what you would do in Rio, in Lima, in Mexico City. You know, like South Africans are like, oh, you know, we're the only country in the world. No. Is it unsafe? Sure. Okay, so take precaution.
Yeah, gotcha. And just like anything, you get a bit of street smarts about you when you grow up in those sorts of places. You just know that. It just becomes an instinct that it's second nature. You don't know anything else.
I mean, but I'm so lucky because I'm driving home in a car. I some of my waitresses get, you know, go and have to take public transport home, and then they'll be dropped off in a township and have to walk 3 blocks alone. They have it tough. I don't have it tough. You know, I've got an Audi surrounding me. You know, poor me. Oh, South Africans love to moan, especially white ones. You've been speaking to a lot of white South Africans, I can tell. Oh my gosh, they love a good moan. Oh, but they miss home. Really? Yeah, but I don't miss the lack of electricity. Everything in America works. Oh, shut up.
You're going to love Australia. Everything definitely works there.
Can I have 3 tips on how to handle... You've gotten to know me a little bit. Just give me 3 tips. Like, just be careful of, or don't try this. Because the one thing I won't try is an Australian accent. There's nothing more annoying than an Australian giving the West South African accent. You know, the West South African accent, and they think they're nailing it like this. And because I think I'm nailing it an Australian accent because I just learnt it in Muriel's wedding. Yeah. So I just repeat that.
I can't do accents. I haven't even tried. I should try.
Yeah, you should try.
I should try. 3 things to look out for. God. The sun. It's very brutal.
Okay.
Those UV rays. I don't know. Look out for the insects. Check your boots. Check your shoes before you put them on.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Check out for the spiders. I don't know, man. I like Australia's probably, to me, like the safest place in the world. You're not gonna have any issues there.
Do they laugh?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But it's not like New York. Like Melbourne's a bit more of a metropolitan city, but a lot of people aren't out until like as late as they are here. So you're probably going to have a bit more earlier nights and a bit more tame. People get up early and exercise in Australia. I don't really know what to tell you. Okay. Go and experience it for yourself. You're going to love it, mate.
I'm scared shitless.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Thanks.
You'll want to move there, I guarantee it.
Sorry. I really no. Like I know I've read about Australia. I like what I hear, etc. Wonderful. I think every country has its unique pluses, but no, I'm not leaving South Africa.
That's fine.
South Africa. How do you say it? Say it.
South Africa.
But South Africa. Mark my accent.
South Africa.
Yeah, there we go.
I got it. South Africa.
Bloody hell.
I really need to work on my accents. So you're here till Friday. What do you got on for the next? What's your plans for the next 3 days?
So open mics, like shitloads. And
you should hit I'll give you a couple of recommendations for ones to hit tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've booked 1 or 2 in advance, and I love the way it goes here. I'm trying to get on to the Drew Barrymore show. I just want to go there to a TV studio and feel it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I mean, I want to be in the audience and listen to Drew Barrymore do her thing. I think she's amazing.
That's so gay of you, by the way.
Totally.
To go see Drew Barrymore.
No, well, it was either her or Kelly Clarkson, and I don't know. I grew up with Drew, so So a bit of that. Oh God, I've got to go and get some underwear. I'm doing a Fifth Avenue walk. I just love looking at all the beautiful windows and it's just all the stylish people. It's really beautiful to see. And my niece lives here, so I'm going to spend some time with her. And I want to do one fucking cool New York thing. Give me a tip, like preferably free. Like go and check out this statue in this park. There are 2 Keith Haring sculptures that are public that I want to go and find. So those 2 I'm going to find.
Apparently there's a ferry that you can get on that's very cheap, and it kind of goes like up the river, and it's like really, really
nice.
Really, really nice. I can tell you about that after the show.
Good.
My favorite thing to do here is just go to Central Park. I go to Central Park pretty much every day, but I run.
Okay, I haven't done that yet.
It's just a really shitty time of the year, but it'd be so beautiful even now with all the snow, and I would just be going there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet, so good suggestion.
Yeah, it'll be good. And then, so what's in South Africa? What do you do for work? Like, what's your sort of businesses? You say you.
So it's this restaurant, and I do marketing consulting. So I studied marketing. It's my gig.
Yeah.
So I'm outsourced contractor. I'm working remote from here.
Wow.
As we speak, which is kind of difficult.
I bet.
With the time change, but I'm putting in a couple of hours a day, which helps. So marketing consulting is paying the bills, really, and the dream, until the comedy is gonna pay for everything and everyone.
It will. It has to. It has to just. I just believe it. I believe if you keep working towards it, you gotta get there. There's no other way.
What did Gary Player, one of the world's best golfers, comes from South Africa, said the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Nah.
Isn't that cool?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the more we get up on stage, the more we try, the more we do this, and just put ourselves in the wind. We'll catch the pollen.
Why don't you open up a comedy club in South Africa? I feel like there would be an appetite for it. I mean, and surely you've thought about this, because that's got to be wide open now.
I have.
What about even looking at buying one of the old clubs that used to exist?
I don't want to be around alcohol that much. I think that's the biggest reason, because I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. I don't want to be around that nightlife, night after night after night, and I don't think it's easy managing comedians. I know I'm easy to manage. I arrive on time, I leave early, I look after myself, I clean up after my mess, etc., etc. I've seen how some comedians behave. And to have to rely on them to run a set for you and whatever, I just don't really think I'm up for that. But more than that, it's just like the lifestyle. I don't want already I have a problem with the lifestyle, because you have to become a nocturnal owl.
I'm so nocturnal now, it's crazy. I don't go to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes even later. Like, I didn't get home this morning till 2 o'clock.
I get that. I mean, this morning I woke up early, and I'm seeing a sun for the first time in ages, because what's been happening, I've been sleeping till 12:01, going to a mic at 2, and then another one at 4, and the sun's gone. So yeah, I don't want that nocturnal full-time life. And then I do think it's gonna, when you be careful turning your, I think it might make me hate comedy. Because then it becomes a business, and I'd rather work on myself as a business than a business that's outside of myself. Like, it's just I don't think it's I hear you. The market is wide open. I don't think I'm right for it.
I hear you. Yeah, I've dabbled. I've thought about it as well. I've thought, what does the future look like for me? Is that an option to open up a club in the future? And I think my answer for now is no. I view it the same way. Like, although it'd be great to get stage time and have opportunities and stuff, I think it would take away from my own journey of my own growth and just flexibility. I don't like to feel like I'm in a cage. I would like to feel like I can do what I want to do at any point of time. I need to feel that freedom. I need to feel like that is my option.
I mean, already comedians are tough on each other.
Mm.
I mean, you've probably realized. Imagine now owning the club where you don't want to book someone, okay? Because he's not funny.
Mm.
But everybody else thinks he's funny, but you don't think he's funny, and you don't like him, and this and that. And then it just becomes all this personal stuff, and you become like a part of the dynamic of the industry. And
Yeah, I don't think that would be too big an issue. I don't think that would be anything you couldn't overcome. But I mean, it's just a personal thing. I feel like it's crazy though that no one is trying to do that in South Africa now.
Here's the thing: we have a comedy awards festival. We have a comedy awards program. We have pop-ups all the time. We've got some great sponsors, some great corporates behind the pop-ups. There is a lot happening, but nothing, there's no like, I wish we had the home of, not yet.
Yeah.
It may come. It may come.
Is there a vibrant nightlife there?
Yes.
Is there like an area in your city where people would go to like nightclubs and bars and stuff?
Yeah, there's a few areas.
Okay.
There's a few bubbles.
Yeah.
Depending on how much you're prepared to spend. We've got the very elite bubbles, and then we've got the very street bubbles, but there's tons of bubbles, and the townships are rocking. I mean, I've played to black only audiences in it's called a tavern, to straight 40-year-old men, and they loved it, and I honestly loved playing that club because it was a Tuesday night. It was wild. People were having a lot of fun. So no, South Africa pops off. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet. What is your view on Oscar Pistorius?
So
is he still in jail or is he out now?
He's out.
Okay,
he is out.
What was your view your personal view when it was all happening? Did you think he was guilty or innocent?
So I worshipped him before it happened.
I think a lot of people did.
Like many South Africans and people. And there is no doubt in my mind he knew exactly what he was doing, and his rage got the better of him. And my mind, isn't the justice system. He killed someone. When you live in, I've been to his security estate. It is such a secure estate. That's what I love about living in a secure estate. When I have lived in one, when you hear a sound, it's a bird or a dog. It's definitely, you live in a fucking security estate. You don't get up and shoot multiple times through the door. You don't, unless you're in rage. And he killed a beautiful, warm, gentle, generous lady who I've since met some of her friends who say, like, he killed an angel.
That's so sad.
And I wish he got more time. And I wish he weren't free. But he's free, but will he ever be free? I mean, he creeps me out.
He would have to live. Just living with that would be.
I just hope I never see him, because the thought or sight of him would creep me out.
Yeah, I watched the documentary recently on him, the one on Netflix. It was an amazing documentary, and God, what a rise and a fall on someone. Hey, just someone who literally had it all. I mean, he made the most of his situation. I mean, what a fantastic athlete! What a fantastic thing he achieved, and then
unbelievable,
just fucking
brilliant,
killed it.
No, brilliant, and yeah, just
Jim Jeffries does a funny bit on him. Have you seen that?
Yeah, okay, no.
Try. Yeah. He does just a funny story about the whole thing. The whole Oscar Pistorius on one of his specials. Yeah,
it's the one thing that I don't like getting too offended. Since I've met friends of Reva's, who said to me, they went to some very well known comedian, did a bit on Oscar, and her name was spoken into the. And when you know somebody who knew her, I just go, no, I don't want to know.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's one of those things.
Personal,
And what we forget with comedy is that it's personal to some people. Fuck. And then I think about some of the insensitive jokes I've made. But yeah, So no, I haven't seen Jeffries or Jim
Jeffries.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything you want to... Sorry to take a little bit of a dark turn at the end of that podcast, guys, but it's all interesting.
Is that what?
And it's my podcast, so I can ask whatever question I fucking want to, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, mate, we got about 5 minutes left, so hit me with some plugs. I wish we could talk for longer. Please, when you're back in New York, come back. If you have any friends that are in comedy in South Africa, tell them if they're coming to New York, do reach out to me. I'm going to get them on the podcast. We love South Africans.
South Africans.
They're our brothers and sisters. If you know any comics, please.
Brothers in colonialism.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
Of course. Brothers in privilege.
Yeah, plug it all.
away.
This will probably get published in a couple of weeks.
Lovely.
2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
Costa Comedian is the Instagram handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's my primary social media. And my show is called Desperately Seeking Souvlaki, coming to a city near you.
Will you eventually publish that on YouTube or something like that?
I will film it eventually.
Yeah.
When the
I
second show...
I watched the highlights. It's really funny.
Okay.
Your act outs are beautiful.
That was actually the first show that I filmed. That's an
You
edit
did great.
from that. But
Yeah.
thank you. But my second, as soon as I'm ready to put out my second show, then I'm going to put this all over the net.
Perfect.
And I'm dying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Dying to do that.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't have a YouTube channel that I do too well. But definitely TikTok and Instagram, Costa Comedian, and www.costacomedian.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the only plugs. Oh, if you're really interested in buying my book, I mean, if you've seen the movie now, I'm not selling t-shirts, but you can buy the book. It's I Am Costa, From Meth to Marathons. It's on Amazon or any online retailer in South Africa or around the world.
There we go. Very talented man right here, guys. Look out for him.
Oh,
I'm going to see you on Netflix in the future, I hope.
oh, for sure. The Weatherman. Moving maps.
Hey, as long as we're in the industry getting paid, doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's wherever this yellow brick road takes us.
I didn't know the camera was there.
Yeah.
And I love a camera. You know, I used to be a home shopping channel presenter.
I did it.
Yeah, like a QVC.
Wow.
It taught me so much about camera work.
Mate, we could have probably talked for hours on this. I didn't even get to ask you much about your book, but we got to wrap this up. It's been a pleasure. Please come back.
Thank you so much.
Thank
See
you.
you soon.
Thanks for coming on.
See you on stage.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of Going After It with Cam Bird. Produced by Cam Bird, co-produced by Ryan Rizzuti and Shreya Suresh. Music by Brian Rigby. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And if you can, remember, get after it.